Good afternoon, it's January the 11th 2021 and already this year's feeling a little bit long. I'm David MURRAY-HUNDLEY, I'm the Grumpy Entrepreneur, and yeah, lockdown's proven interesting. 2 daughters are at home, my schooling skills are pretty dire, it has to be said, and it's driving me nuts. But hey ho, some people have got it worse, so I'm going to stop moaning. I'm going to crack on. So today I thought I would talk about some things that maybe founders of startups or kind of those growing companies need to be doing today, really, if they haven't already done so. And a little bit of this comes from last year, but this is also, I've kind of made some observations on how things are, I guess, now with this lockdown 3.0, whatever it's called. So the first one is don't panic, but don't stick your head in the ground. So interesting, last year saw quite a few companies actually that really stuck their heads in the ground, and they honestly thought we were going to be through this entire challenge in literally a matter of months, and obviously that hasn't happened. My own observation is that I think this is pretty long term. I think 21 is going to be really challenging. I hope I eat my words on that when I look back on this in 12 months time, but I really do think this first quarter is going to dictate the next 12 months. So I'd be preparing even more. So don't stick your head in the ground, because it's not going to help you. I know it's easy to do, I know it's actually kind of nice because you have to kind of shield away from the rest of this planet on what's going on, but it's probably not going to help your business or your shareholders in the long term. However, on the other side of that is panicking, and I saw a lot of people panic last year. They were like, you know, I think the expression is rabbits in headlamps, and you can just calm it down a little bit. And there's a few things you can do to kind of put yourself at ease, which I'll cover shortly. But yeah, like, you know, you got to get on with it, right? So do that, keep your head straight. Be real to the world. Don't look at the media, because I think it's probably not helpful in some areas. Okay, so the next one is about looking after yourself and distractions. So I kind of get the feeling in this entrepreneurial world that we all think we have to be superhuman. I don't know, like Elon Musk never has a bad day. I'm sure he has plenty of bad days or plenty of bad moments. And lockdown is definitely proving that there's resilience, but there's resilience just in general terms. So few things here, because I know there's a mixture of people, right? So there's some entrepreneurs who just live on their own and literally have zero contact with anybody, and there's those like myself, has a family, and I'm very fortunate and lucky to have that. However, it also has some challenges there. So the first thing is get some exercise. I mean, I did a lot of exercise anyway, but you know, because when you get older it gets tougher and you have to look after yourself. However, this year I've decided to do exercise every day of this year. So I'm on day 11, so off to a good start. However, I use running and cycling just for me time and to think about stuff. It's a real good distraction. So definitely get some exercise in daily, even if it's just a walk, get fresh air, just think about something else other than your startup or your business or your challenges. I think the other thing as well is distractions that aren't your work and aren't your business. So when I'm not doing what I do things like this, which actually distracted me a little bit. I also reset up my race simulator. I never have a chance to ever do any video game stuff or driving simulations at all, except for lockdown. I become an ace at it. So I've reset that back up, and you know, even if it's an hour a day at night, I will spend an hour distracting myself and showing Lewis Hamilton who's the true world champion of Formula 1. The other thing as well is, you know, just talk to people. If you are really isolated, you know, I saw a lot of founders, there's a lot of people in general last year that just had no contact, and the only contact they had with people was to talk about bloody lockdown or they're missing people or their businesses. Just have some banter, even if it's like, you know, a few things we saw last year was like online karaoke, very funny, or just have a beer with someone. I'm doing dry January or maybe dry quarter, but you know, just have a drink with someone online and just have some things that aren't to do with the everyday stuff that you have to put up with. And that's it really. We all need to be getting through this, and to get through this we need to be mentally tough, and people have mental health issues, been there, and you know, the only way you can do it is just by trying everything you can that suits you and fits you. So another one that I would look at, and this was interesting. So this is like communications to your staff, your team, and then also your shareholders. So let me start with the shareholders one. So companies in general at early stage are really bad at communicating to shareholders. They either don't communicate at all, and when they do send updates out, it's all lovely and rosy, and there's kind of going around the fact that they haven't done sales and all the rest of it. So change that, because one of the things I saw a lot last year is existing shareholders supporting financially and also through just expertise a lot of businesses, because they knew the full picture and they knew where they stood and they trusted the information they got. I include myself in that. And trust me, we can tell a shareholders report that is fluff and that is real. All right, it's quite a key skill, but it's really obvious. And you know, I saw companies last year that were midway through a fundraise and suddenly things changed and had people pull out. And, you know, my question was, you know, how do your current shareholders feel? And amazing how many of those, their current shareholders followed on their money and supported those businesses, because why wouldn't they? And all because of the information they got out there. The ones that didn't had fairly despondent shareholders who, you know, there's kind of a point you get, I guess, with an investment where you go, why should I do more? Like, what's the point? It's not very valued, etc. So really look at your share. So, you know, most businesses, I would be doing a shareholders update once a month. Most want to do it every quarter. I think that's too long. But I'd be getting shareholder updates out there. Some of those shareholders of yours, whether it's a PE firm or it's individuals, you know, speak to them. Don't have to speak to them all individually, because you'll spend all your time doing that, but make them feel engaged. And some of them want to help, and they've got great expertise. They're investors for a reason, right? They've probably sold a business, etc. So do engage with staff and team. You know, again, it's tough. I saw businesses last year where there was a real divide between fairly young staff that this was all a bit of a shocker and felt very isolated and were really challenged by the whole changing environment and working way. And sometimes the only way they communicated was when they were actually in an office. And those that were at home, whether it's parents with children having to school all day and then work all evening and not seeing their partners during the evening or any time at all, to be honest, you know, comms to those people is really important. And again, don't give doom and gloom, but don't fluff things around, and do things for your staff. Find things for them to be distracted by on a Friday afternoon when all the hard work's done. Things to look forward to. There's one business I'm involved with does a brilliant job of that, but also having an open mechanism for them to come and talk to you or some other people about what's challenging them at that point. Okay, so it's you know, this is unprecedented times. It's really tough out there, and I think it's you know, your business is only as good as your team. I don't care how good a founder you may think you are. You know, it's all about teamwork, and if the team's not running on all cylinders, then you're going to have some challenges. To remind myself of what I'm about to talk about. So, runway into 2022. Last March, April, when I spoke to businesses, you know, a lot of those shocked me about the lack of runway that they would have. Literally 2 months, 3 months of money left. And I was saying to them, you know, you need to be kind of extending yourself out to the back end of 2020. I'm now going to change that and then say that I think you need to have runway into 2022. I really do. I don't think there's any guarantees there's going to be some of the help like there was last year for some businesses. Maybe there will be, I don't know, but I haven't got a crystal ball. But I would be looking at your runway and going, oops, I only got till the middle of the year. And how do you do that? Well, obviously there's raising money, probably from existing investors. And the other way is to look at your cost base and really drive it hard, and not just think you're driving it hard down, like really challenge it. And I guess everyone is sell more. A lot of the businesses I spoke to last year, and actually in the last week, their focus is all over the shop, and they're selling so much stuff. And I'm like, well, just, you know, what are your best products, performance-wise, sales-wise, least resistance, all that great stuff that we all know. I'm going to tell people how to suck eggs. You know, sell more of that. Don't burn all this time over here on this stuff that you think is quite cool to sell, but actually just doesn't make economic sense for your business. So really go and look at that, and then make sure you can cover yourselves up into 2022. So this one is planning, and so a little thing here. I always think the worst, actually. I don't know why, maybe it's part of the grumpy thing, but I always plan for the worst, because then if it goes better, then it's a nice, it's a good thing, right? You don't get disappointed, and you were ready for it if it did go wrong. And I speak to a lot of founders that are a bit like being their head stuck in the ground, is kind of planning for this. Well, it's going to be okay like this, and there was someone out there that suggested this would happen. I'd just be building yourselves plans in for you and your board that are kind of managing the risk over the next 12 months and revisiting that. The whole point of plans is that you can you baseline and then you can replan again. So I think and make changes. So we're doing that on a very regular basis. This fits in with your cash flow side of things, but just the business as a whole. I looked at companies last year that from February to December changed dramatically as a business, their business model, even some of them what their product was. Other businesses where their market just boomed because of online, and some other businesses, not so lucky, went the opposite direction. So really plan, and it's always, no one else is ever like doing the doomsday kind of planning stuff, but at least you can then see things coming towards you and not be reactive and be proactive. So I just thought about this one while I was talking about planning, is tech costs. I saw the back end of probably last quarter of 2020, real hike in pricing around technology development costs. And obviously a lot of the businesses I speak to, they have pretty large proportion of their budget go towards software development and things like that. And because of last year, because of online, then you saw salaries for full-time people and contractors shoot up pretty rapidly, and I'm still seeing it rise rapidly. So don't get caught off guard by having a budget for this year and going, well, the bill's going to cost me this, or support's going to cost me this. I would expect, even with offshore providers on this, a real hike in some of the pricing, and I would be building that into your financial models and just having it. And also, top tip, which I gave one of the businesses I'm involved with, is negotiate maybe a price card for a period of time, like i.e. a couple of years, right? And protect yourself from any of those kind of hikes in pricing that might even increase even further. Okay, so there's loads more I could talk about, but no one ever watches these videos that long, right? Because it gets pretty boring and dull, and mine are definitely boring and dull. These videos, by the way, I'm doing in one take, no editing. Usually I would edit stuff, don't have the time. My wife's the person who will do my editing. She definitely doesn't have the time. My daughters will probably join me in some of these videos. I'm trying to do at least one a week at the moment because it is a nice distraction, and I will continue to do so. If there's anything you want me to talk about, then just direct message me or leave a comment, or send me a pigeon with a note or something. Some feedback on helping businesses. Obviously I started up again last week. It's been really good, actually. It's been interesting. There's those in the camp of really early stage and just kind of like, where do they go direction wise, because a lot of unknowns. A lot where they're so close to getting to market and needing to raise money, but getting real resistance at the moment as well. And I'm going to do a video about investment and fundraising in the current climate, because it's definitely very different at the moment in certain areas. There are other areas it's maybe what it was last year, if not better. And so yeah, I'll keep trying to do these videos. I just think if there's anything else. He's written some notes because I'm doing it in one take. No, that's it. Look, if there's any questions on this, because there is a load of more detail that I should do, then please just message me. I'll always answer. And look after yourselves, and we will all get through this, as they say. And I will carry on going for as long as people want to watch this stuff as well. So look, see you later. Bye.